been discussed about the viruses. According to the different kinds of the viruses or the types of the viruses as well as the classification of the viruses, we have been discussed the various non-living viruses. Okay, these are the non-living crystallized structures, and today we will study about the mycoplasma, that is the specialized kinds of the bacteria, which are the very smaller bacteria, and these are also parasitic in nature, either plant or the animals also. Okay, they are parasitic in nature, so that these are also the two types of the bacteria, mycoplasmas are there, plant infecting or parasitic, as well as the human, including the human or the other vertebrate animals. So as we see into the bacteria, into the viruses are of three kinds, that is the DNA viruses, RNA viruses, as well as the RNA, DNA and RNA viruses, that is the DNA, RNA viruses, because RNA transformed into the DNA and then DNA will be transformed into the RNA, that is the releasing of the RNAs, and then the protein synthesis takes place into the host cell of the viruses. As like in the mycoplasma there are hundreds of species, there is a number of species into the mycoplasma. There is one kind of the bacteria, that is very smaller bacteria. In bacteria there are up to the 1.5 to 5 micrometers according to their size of the bacteria, but the mycoplasmas are from 0.2, 0.1 to 0.2 micrometers in length. Okay, so that these are very smaller or minute bacteria, that is the mycoplasma. These are the parasitic mycoplasma. First of all, there are simplest and smallest bacteria, that is the prokaryotic cells. Okay, according to our topics, that is the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, we have been discussed about the distribution characteristics as well as the what is the difference between the prokaryotes and eukaryotes, and especially as per our syllabus we will study about the mycoplasma bacteria, that is the very simplest and smallest bacteria, and these were isolated by the Enochard and the another scientist, that is the Rocks in 1898. They have been extracted these bacteria from the pleural fluids of the cattle, and in the pleural fluids of cattle they have been found the very smallest or minute bacteria which are present into the cattle, and they are causing in the cattle, that is pneumonia. They are causing the pneumonia, so that these are also called as the pneumonia like organisms, that is called as the PPLO. They are called as the pneumonia like organisms, and they are smallest mycoplasma. In the mycoplasma bacteria, there is very smallest mycoplasma bacteria, that is the Mycoplasma gallisepticum. That is the Mycoplasma gallisepticum. That is the very minute bacteria, and its size is only 0.1 micrometer. So it is very smallest bacteria. So as far as concerning the mycoplasma, these are either they may be saprophytic or they may be causing the various diseases, that is the so that these are also having the capacity to pleuromorphic, that is they can change their shape. Because first of all, if we observe the mycoplasma bacteria, they have not presence of cell wall. There is no cell wall is present. There is the presence of plasma membrane. That is the one kind of the specialized kind of the bacteria. These are the mycoplasma which are having the specialized cell membrane, and that cell membrane is actually consisting with the specific kind of the lipoproteinous material, that will be lipoproteinous and glycoproteinous material that will be around their body, and so that that membrane will be changeable, so that these are also called as the pleuromorphic. And so these pleomorphic bacteria are there in that mycoplasmas. As well as if we see the general characteristics of the mycoplasma, these are very smallest bacteria, and they are change their shape, as well as their cell wall is of cells, and so these are also called as the jokers of the microbiology. Okay, we can say these are also called as the jokers of the microbiology, and because they are mimic, they are change their shape as far as considering the conditions of the that is infective stages into the plant or the animals, and so that their changeable shape of the structure of the bacteria, that mycoplasma, these are called as the jokers of the microbiology. So general characteristics, they are causing the pneumonia or the rheumatism. That is, the rheumatism means there is the pain into the joints. Okay, so these are causing pneumonia as well as the rheumatism. The other general characteristics of the as well as they are also harmful to the genitals or the genital tract of the human being, and they are causing the inflammation into the genital tract of the human being as well as the cattle, etc. Okay, then there is also some clover draft like bacteria. These are potato witch broom as well as the stunting of the maize plant. These are causing because of the mycoplasma. So there is two kinds of the bacteria: plant infecting bacteria as well as the animals or vertebrate infecting bacteria. So other mycoplasma, there is these mycoplasmas, there is a specific they are sensitive to the specific antibiotics, and so the mycoplasma are sensitive to the tetracycline. Okay, mycoplasma are sensitive to the tetracycline, but they are not, means they are insensitive to the penicillin. It is the one kind of most important the characteristic feature of the mycoplasma. They are not, these are only microorganisms, these are only prokaryotic cells, that is parasitic prokaryotic cells, which are not sensitive to the penicillin. That is the most important characteristics. And the another characteristic, that is the mycoplasmas are resistant to the osmotic lysis, and because of that they are withstand conditions under the protoplast lyse due to the presence of sterols. That is, the lipoproteins are there, so that presence of sterols, they are means they are withstand under the protoplast, and they lies due to the presence of sterols, and they can also pass through the bacterial filters. They can pass through the bacterial filters because they are very minute in size, very smallest in size, and these are from bacteria are 1.5 to 5 micrometers, but they are very smaller bacteria. There are 100 numbers of species of the mycoplasma are there, but we are today in only the general structure of the mycoplasma. There is the parasitic mycoplasma bacteria, and they are the most important characteristics of the mycoplasma. That is, they are survive without taking the oxygen. They can survive without taking the oxygen, and in prokaryotes, and there is the most important characteristics feature, that is they are survive without the oxygen. Then the mycoplasma are through the filter, bacterial filter, they are filtered out, so that to detect them there is very not easy, and so that the minute bacteria are causing the various diseases to the plants as well as the animals. Okay, so that as far as concerned the structure of the mycoplasma, as we seen here, there is a cell membrane, that is the plasma membrane is situated, there is the glycoprotein as well as the lipoproteins are there. Then at the internal structure of the mycoplasma, there is presence of the spreading of the plenty of the enzymes are there, and so that these are they are ultimately and rapidly they are forming the formation of the various synthesis of the proteins. Then there is whatever the internal structure of the mycoplasma, there is consisting with they are devoid of the other organelles. They are having only the plasma membrane and ribosomes, and then the genetic material, and there is no any cell organelles are present. As we see into the prokaryotes are not having the or carries the various cell organelles. Okay, that is like Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum, that is nucleus, etc. All are the devoid of the as like other prokaryotic cells. Okay, then there is presence of the ribosomes. Ribosomes are of 70 subunits ribosomes. In prokaryotic cell there is also the 70 subunit ribosomal structure. Then ribosomes are, you know very well as our last discussions, that is the ribosomes are responsible for the protein synthesis. Okay, then there is the important fact of the organisms, that is the single cell or the eukaryotic cell, prokaryotic cell or the eukaryotic cell. There is genetic material is present into the cytoplasm or into the interior of the cell. So there is both the genetic material present into the mycoplasma are there. That is the RNA, ribonucleic acids, that is the single stranded RNA that is spread into the cytoplasm, as well as the specific granules are situated of the RNA granules. Then there is presence of the double stranded circular DNA material is present, and the DNA material is forming or that is carrying the genetic material of the species. Okay, so the structure of the mycoplasma, that is without a nuclear envelope, there is no nuclear envelope, and double circular DNA as well as the RNA is present, that is the genetic material, okay, into the mycoplasma. And then how the mycoplasma reproduce? They cannot reproduce themselves, but they are capable to the reproduce by the budding or the fragmentation into their cell, as well as they are also one kind of the characteristic, that is they are also multiplied by the binary fission. They are also multiplied by the binary fission as well as the fragmentation as well as the budding of the mycoplasma. And they are generally non-motile, but in specific conditions their motility is formed by the gliding movements of the cell. That is the gliding movements of the cell. So like this, there is a various disease causing bacteria, that is the mycoplasmas. As far as concerned in the study of the prokaryotic cell in our syllabus, there is the mycoplasma is one kind of prokaryotic cell which is causing the various diseases to the plants as well as to the animals also. So thanks